everybody. Welcome to Empty the Bench, episode number 77. Tom Albano here, Nick Federa, Nick Morgeson. Gentlemen, quite the sports week, quite the madness, and not all of it just relating to NFL free agency. And by the way, apologies for us starting at 4 o'clock today, not 3. That blame is all on me. Well, that blame is on me and on COVID.
Hey, you got the vaccine.
Hey! Just one.
He's got his first shot. I got both 2 weeks ago. So, hey, vaccine boys. But still, hey, you're halfway there.
And living on a prayer.
I say, well, we're always halfway there. No, get that reference. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, I mean, the NFL is kind of living on a prayer in more ways than one. We'll get to all the free agency madness. God, it was like baseball free agency, how it used to be.
Yeah.
We'll also be talking about a new development in Meyers Leonard that's got me all confused. UFC going back in front of audience, but we would be remiss if we did not start off with this, what I'm going to call probably the most confusing, the most bizarre, and the most shocking sexual assault allegations I have ever seen in my life.
And by the way, just so people know, we have some audio from a press conference from yesterday, so we have plenty of audio to back this up as well.
So, that being said...
Okay. Am I excited? Excited's not really the word. Constipated with confusion, I think, is more the term here, because it's something that I'm not getting. When this story first broke, we were basically in pre-show meetings, and we were basically trying to, as the story broke. Well, first of all, context is necessary.
Nick, let me correct one thing. Which is, I messaged both of you guys when I saw this story come out, and Nick, and I don't blame you for reacting this way because we didn't know what was going on. Nick was like, sleazeball lawyer suing Deshaun Watson living in Texas.
Well, first of all, we need to mention
Let's give some details. So when this story broke on Tuesday night, and on Tuesday, basically this Tony Busby, who's a lawyer down in Texas, who actually ran for Houston mayor in like 2019, I think.
And he's Cal McNair's neighbor, right?
Bob McNair's neighbor.
Bob McNair, whatever. Yeah. Whatever, it doesn't make a difference.
But Bob McNair's neighbor, Tony Busby, basically made an Instagram post announcing that basically he is suing, filing lawsuit against Deshaun Watson. And basically it was one of the most vague Instagram posts I've ever seen, in which he's talking about enough is enough with Deshaun's actions against these women, talking about how he's a Marine and he is a family man.
Women initially, it was almost like he was chastising, just Deshaun Watson for something we didn't even realize he did at first.
Let's clear up one thing. When this came out, it was one woman who came out. He alleged came out.
Well, let's go even further. So now, that same night, Mr. Busby is talking with Fox 26. It's one of the local Fox stations
in Houston. Yeah.
And basically, the accusation was Watson taking a text message too far, whatever that means. And then all of a sudden, the next morning, actually, wait, there is one more detail about the Tuesday night thing. Albert, I think it's Albright.
Albright. It was, I know who, Benjamin Albright.
Benjamin Albright.
He covers the Denver Broncos for a radio station down there in Denver.
AJ Perez was also on this.
Albright basically saying, he knows Deshaun, and, this can't possibly be. AJ Perez, like Nick said, actually a friend of ours from the Unspoken podcast days, then showed some evidence in which apparently Mr. Busby never filed a lawsuit on that day.
At the time
he hadn't in Harris County, which is where the greater Houston area. That's the county it belongs in.
And then, but then the next day, a lawsuit was filed, and all of a sudden, this text turned too far, turns into an alleged sexual assault. Apparently, the details of it is Deshaun Watson was in a massage parlor and basically put his you-know-what on the woman.
There's a lot of issues here. One, first of all, as a lawyer, I've never seen a lawyer go to Instagram. Doesn't matter if you're the hotshot lawyer or you're the lawyer that works in the barbershop because he can't afford his own office, which is what I think Tony Busby is at this point.
That is very specific. Are you pulling from personal examples?
No. Well, I did see Coming to America 2, where they ran a bunch of businesses out of a barbershop. But anyway. But my point is that, and a lot of people were commenting on Tony Busby's Instagram, because, by the way, he trumped it and got suspended from Twitter, so he can't even comment on Twitter on this whole situation anyway. So you go on his Instagram, he's talking about how, he's got this big case, and he's going to be representing all these women, which is now allegedly up to 22. We'll get to that.
I was going to say one turn to 2, turn to 3, to 4, to 8. Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically counting by odd numbers. He's basically playing hopscotch.
And if this story was basically like, if this slowly came out, like, it's weird. Because obviously we take every issue with a grain of salt. Everything is the big A, allegedly. But we always try to believe in the victims and everything, hear their stories, understand that, sometimes they have a fear of speaking out. The problem seems to be, though, everything about this lawyer. His initial Instagram post, the fact that he is connected to McNair. Like, that's why I said it's one of the most concerning and yet one of the most bizarre cases I've ever seen.
But there's another part of this story that's kind of odd, and Deshaun, I think, pointed it out on his social media pages, that I think the masseuse actually came from, what was it, Atlanta to his place in Houston.
Well, that was the message. That was the report that came out today. You're talking about, correct?
Well, no, it also came out last night. But
last night.
But my point is that, don't you think it's a little bit fishy that this woman traveled from Atlanta to go to his house to do a personal masseuse job?
During COVID protocols, nonetheless.
Well, I was going to say. Well, I was also going to say. Well, that also on Deshaun. Like, I understand you couldn't get to your masseuse during COVID, but why are you going through Instagram to get a masseuse?
I read in the TMZ story today that apparently, like Nick said, it was against COVID protocols to use his normal trainers. So if you can't use your normal trainers, why are you bringing in somebody from outside the state?
It doesn't make any sense.
I was going to say this lawsuit makes no sense on any end. On Deshaun's end, on the lawyer, I'm speechless by this case, honestly.
Usually we're not lost for words, but we're kind of lost for words a little bit here.
Because I can't make what I can't make heads or tails is of this. It's everything seemed to escalate while our backs were turned. Like Tom said, it started from one thing and now it's 50 things at the same time.
And again, you always want to believe the victims. You always want to hear the stories.
That is to say that we are absolutely not making light of what the victims.
I know where you're right. I know where you're going at with Nick and what I said during pre-show meetings. How does this turn from a text gone too far to 22 alleged sexual? I don't get it.
It doesn't. That's the problem here. That I think this guy is looking for attention because think about it. This guy has done many wacko things, including running for mayor. And I'll throw one more in there. He tried to put the billboards up to get Johnny Manziel to the Texans.
Oh, you're talking about in the initial post how he said he was not a football fan, and that's the thing you brought up, Nick.
You know what? For him to say in his Instagram post that he's not a football fan is the biggest load of you-know-what in the entire world.
He also parked a tank on his front lawn.
Yeah.
An actual, honest-to-God World War II era tank. But that's not relevant to the case here. But honestly, if this is legit, having Lionel Hutz as your defense lawyer is not gonna hurt. It's not gonna help you.
No, that's another thing I don't get about Deshaun, and another thing I don't get about Busby. We have a claim from Deshaun that we got to add here too, and that apparently, according to Deshaun, Busby tried to pay him off with a six-figure
settlement.
He tried to demand. He basically for him.
He ambushed him basically. I forgot what the term is. But
I know, but I'm just saying, if that's true, that's really bad because then you're trying to dismiss one illegal allegations with another illegal allegation. What is going on here?
Again, why would you go to him first? File the case. Why would you go to him first demanding money?
That was the issue here, that he says, I filed the case. Then the records were checked at the courthouse. There's no case being filed.
It was the next day he filed the case.
Well, no. Then there was the rumor that apparently one of the Houston police forces reached out to him, or he reached out to them to file a police report. There's a lot of problems with this situation, and I'm having a hard time. And like Nick said, we got to feel sympathy because we don't know what's real and what's not.
Yeah, we don't know. This could have happened. This absolutely could have happened.
Right. Yeah, but that's the thing. I feel for the victims, but yet in this case, I also still feel for Deshaun only because we don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's true and what's not, and we can't say that without taking into context everything that's going on.
Everything about this lawyer
and the Texans,
and everything about this lawyer.
But at the same time, what's so bizarre about this whole thing, as a lawyer, you don't, like I said before, you don't go on social media and say that you're going to put out a case against Deshaun Watson or any athlete or any.
That was also very bizarre.
But people were commenting in the Instagram post saying, "Are you looking for attention? Is that why you're putting this out here?" And you know what? And Tom, I put the audio in the box because I think we need to listen. And this clip, which came from the press conference yesterday, basically explains how I have this case. I know we're going to win. We have this, we have that. And I'm speaking to 10 other women on top of the 12. Now, does anyone else think it's a coincidence that this case happened to come out knowing that Deshaun Watson doesn't want to be with the Texans anymore?
Well, that's exactly what I said before.
Well, let me
take that into context, into consideration.
Well, let me get to that point then before we get to the video. And that's, guys, if any of you believe that the Texans are part of this and it's some big conspiracy theory, I wouldn't go that far.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
That's a big step to make.
Yeah, it's a big step to make. Also, because what did I tell you just before we came on here on the air, Nick? You know who I think is the biggest losers of this besides the Texans? The Texans! Let's think about this. There goes Deshaun's trade value, even though they weren't supposedly going to trade him. And then there's this rumor that day where the allegation came out, the hashtag Deshaun to Denver was trending, and all of a sudden there was this rumor Deshaun could be going to the Broncos, and then that around this time of free agency they get Tyrod Taylor and another quarterback. This is the worst thing that could have happened to the Texans because you're not going to
get that to be true. You're not going to have him because he's going to be suspended. Maybe
I think he's going to be suspended regardless. I think he's going to get suspended regardless. This is the ginger hammer we're talking about here.
Yeah, let's remember who we're talking about here.
Yeah, but at the same time, and because the NFL basically doesn't put the hammer down on anybody, at least for long periods of time.
This is Roger Two Checks Goodell we're talking about here.
Right. So my point is, this Tony Busby is the biggest hack of all time when it comes to being lawyers.
Right. Okay, but my point was, if the Texans were a part of this, if this big step, and then all of a sudden, then they look absolutely awful, and they should have so many penalties against them by the NFL.
Yeah, but
and if not, then one way or another, either by way of release, by way of trade, or by way of suspension, they're not going to have Deshaun Watson, who's their only really good, elite piece left.
See, I was afraid with all the lawsuits coming out that we weren't going to be able to do our show today because he was going to sue us next.
You know, that thought did cross my mind.
Oh, God.
And I'm not joking when I say this, and I'm sure he might sue me for this anyway, even though I might say it. He's what I call the dime a dozen lawyer. He is. I'm serious. Like, you pay him a dime, he does whatever task you ask him, and then when he's done, he'll say, "Give me another dime, and I'll do another one."
Yikes.
I mean, let's go to the audio. Let's go to the audio.
Let's set this up. I want to set this up. Basically,
Okay.
he's sitting at the press conference. I don't know who those two women are. I that might be two of the accusers. I'm not 100% sure, but he sits there, and when you're about to watch this thing, you almost think you're trying to believe him in a sense, like he's trying to be convincing when he's saying this stuff. So listen to this video because it's very odd.
Reported, we have filed lawsuits on behalf of 7 women against Deshaun Watson for civil assault. And you should all know that before we filed the first lawsuit, I personally visited with the plaintiff multiple times. I understood that this case would generate a lot of interest. I wanted to make damn sure that what she was saying was plausible, was right and true. And I was convinced after visiting with her that she was telling the absolute truth. And to be quite honest, she's a very brave person, very brave person. Her story certainly passes the smell test. She is brave and truthful. Of course, when she told me the story about what had happened to her, I like many of you, I wondered, why would someone like Deshaun Watson, who probably has access to 40 or 50 trainers, masseuses and the like, why would he reach out to individuals on Instagram? And that's a question that maybe you should ask him or his lawyer. I wondered that. I assume, like perhaps you do, that he has a large team of people that can handle any massage needs that he had. We are now representing 12 women, and we will file the remaining cases, the additional 5 cases in due course as we do our due diligence. You should also know that we've also spoken to more than 10 additional women. So more than 22 women that we've spoken to who have reported conduct.
Yeah. All right, you can end this clip. It's enough. All right, you know what? Like, I kind of zoned out.
The use of the word tramp is very interesting.
And by the way, this is not food. The sexual assault case does not pass a smell test. Okay.
Again,
His word choice was very confusing.
you know what? It's hard. I mean, I'm not going to discount. I'm not going to discount. I'm not going to discount what these women might have gone through, because it very well could have happened.
No, but my other question is,
if this is true, he's got to step aside a little bit.
No, but
he's got to step away from the microphone a little bit. Come on.
No, but my question or my thought is, could some of these women be coming out against him because maybe they didn't, because of him, like, or because he didn't pay, or he didn't want them coming anymore? I
don't know. I mean, I don't think so.
Like I said, I want to.
If it is a work, I would put the blame on his shoulders and not theirs.
Like I said, I want to believe these women, and
yeah, I'm going to believe these women until I hear different. This is just so difficult.
I was gonna say, but all the circumstances, are just a little strange, and strange that you got to feel at least a little sympathy for Watson. Something about this case, something about
just doesn't fit right.
Something, like I said, this is one of the weirdest stories I think we've ever covered in our 5 years of being.
I don't know if I would go that. But
we've had some weirder ones, but this is definitely up there.
Maybe one of the most confusing, befuddling, one that's just most speechless.
Befuddling is a good word.
But this guy is such a hotshot lawyer that I don't know if I can take what he says to heart.
Which is why I think Nick said, if this is true, he's got to tone it down a little.
I think he's looking for attention. You wouldn't put it on Instagram. If he had Twitter, he would put it on Twitter. But you know what? Get off social media. If you want people to take you seriously as a lawyer, get off the social media and do your job as a lawyer, which I don't think you know how to do that well anyway.
Oof.
We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out whether this is true or not. I mean, if this goes the case, we are going to find out.
Yeah, but look at the timing of it. He wants to be traded, and now the suit comes out.
I'm not going to be the one jumping at shadows when this is a very serious subject. I mean, this is no joke if it's true.
Right, and again, like Nick said, I'm not putting down the fact. If this happens, we will come on the next episode and totally crucify Deshaun Watson if this is true.
If this is... Guys, I'll go one step further. If this is true, I think combine this with what's going on with the Texans, Deshaun Watson's NFL career might be done.
It's very good. It's a very good possibility.
I mean, and we saw the lawyer that's involved with Deshaun Watson. It should ring a bell.
We just said, Nick Videra just said before, Deshaun Watson's defense attorney, not much better.
I mean, this is a clash of the scumbags in terms of legal representation.
I mean, look at Rusty Hardin being the lawyer for Roger Clemens, for crying out loud.
I mean, if you remember correctly, I mean, I that name had stuck in the back of my brain, but no matter how many times I tried to block it out, and I did try to block it out, but
I mean, let's face it, it's also a nominee for one of the worst names you could have in human history.
I mean, there's Dick Butkus, and then there's Rusty Hart. I mean, come on. I mean,
don't forget the classics like Bend Over.
I mean, Q Jazz.
Well, God, that's ridiculous.
Anita Lane.
No, but all right. But just to get back to this story, I'm a little lost on this whole situation. This is almost like Hollywood Lawyer, and I know this is probably going to get tomatoes thrown at me or us, but it reminds me of someone like a Robert Kardashian representing OJ.
I mean, I could see that. I mean, it's not a completely unapt observation to make. But again, we must let the facts play out.
Yeah, but again, I point back to the timing of this whole thing, which
again, let's let case play out. Maybe Deshaun's innocent, and this is all just a Busby, just looking for attention.
Yeah, but Tom,
this is something serious, and Deshaun did these, and Deshaun basically career is basically going to be in the crap can. So we got to see how this plays out.
I like that. I'm going to start using that now.
I don't know. I want to see how this actually turns out, and I don't trust Busby with a 1 foot pole rather than a 5 foot pole. A 1 foot pole, I wouldn't. First of all, for COVID concerns, I'm not going anywhere within 5 or 6 feet. Yeah. But anyway,
be better off on the home shopping network selling crap cans.
How about a 39.5 foot pole, Nick?
No, still wouldn't.
Yeah, I'd say then you're just like the guy from The Grinch. You wouldn't touch him with a 39.5.
No, but I don't know. Just when you have a last name Busby, like it makes you start thinking like,
he's trying to create buzz.
Ugh. All right, we gotta wrap this up.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it this time.
Before we descend into pun hell, we need to get out of here.
I gave myself the mute penalty. Thank you, everybody.
All right, let's move on.
All right. So, where do we begin with NFL free agency?
I think the topic of the day relating to this is money and lots of it.
Well, the Giants made 2 big moves.
The Giants did make 2 big moves. In fact, just before we came on, top wide receiver target, Kenny Golladay, recently of the Detroit Lions, has signed a 4-year, $72 million deal with the New York Football Giants. $40 million of that is guaranteed. Now, breaking that down, I mean,
overpaid.
I mean, of course you would say that. I mean, Kenny's a good receiver. He really is.
Like, here's what I say.
I said this to Tom, by the way. I said he's a good receiver. I just think he's overpaid.
We will get to that. Now, here's the thing. If Kenny Golladay ends up being, because it's the injury concerns. If he ends up being healthy, that's a decent trio that they have. And if not, then if he's not, then you got to pray John Ross steps up. Either way, like I told you, Nick, before the show, You know what? I would rather a core of Sterling, Darius, Galladay, and John Ross over Slayton, Shepard, and Golden Tate.
The problem is you had to freaking drain the wallet to pay these guys, including Kyle Rudolph.
You were going to have to anyway.
Well, I was going to say, $16 million for Kyle Rudolph
is maybe a bit much, but I think
there's one stat in the last 3 seasons. Now, I don't know if you know which stat I'm referring to, but how many drops do you think Kyle Rudolph had in the last 3 seasons?
Not to me. Here's what I said about Kyle Rudolph. He hasn't taken the field as much because Irv Smith Jr. seems to be their guy now. He is the Vikings guy now that Rudolph is gone.
No, but there's a reason why I asked that. How many drops do you think that Kyle Rudolph had in the last?
Probably not many. But what I was going to say is Rudolph's a red zone threat.
It's not. Well, he's had 1 drop in the last 3 seasons.
I will tell you what. I will tell you what this is. They're lighting a fire under Evan Ingram's ass.
Well, because Evan Ingram.
Because sometimes he comes out of the snap with Crisco gloves.
Well, you can go back to that one drop that he had against the Eagles. Had he not dropped that, but maybe the Giants get a touchdown, they win, they make the playoffs this season.
Evan Ingram,
I still have flashbacks about that.
Evan Ingram is the new Terrell Owens who drops every football on the field. So
but I think basically what this is warning gunfire, telling Evan, hey, your time is. And remember, Evan's from 2017. Hey, your time is coming up. We will not be afraid to move on from you if you do not perform.
I mean, let's look at the other big pickup.
I was going to say, if we're going to stay with the Giants for one more, talking about opening up the wallet, here's the reason why they had to open up the wallets, and I think this one was good. Leonard Williams, 3 years, $63 million. Honestly, the star of the defense.
Worth it. I mean, the defense did very well. They did better than they have the past couple of years.
The Swiss cheese defense?
When they couldn't stop a cold, but that's the problem.
And Leonard Williams is the star, the center of all that.
And he has become the centerpiece, the block by which you build your church of defense.
At least one team in New York is spending money, unlike the other one, which we won't discuss right now.
The only thing I say about the Giants now is, if you guys remember, I said, okay, then I want a wide receiver, a tight end, for Danny to throw to, because I had questions about Danny. But now here's the thing: if you have Rudolph, Galladay, and Ross, what is Gettleman going to do? Are they just going to continue to build the O-line maybe with youth pieces?
I would think that the offensive core. I don't think you're going to get too many upgrades coming, but I do think that he's probably going to build defense first, and then.
Well, I think
the complementary piece.
Well, I was going to say, I think as much as I wanted a wide receiver or tight end for the first round pick, everyone was explaining to me, with the NFL draft and how it is, you can wait till the 2nd or 3rd round or the 4th round to get a wide receiver piece, which is kind of fair. But like I said, it's just, I'm actually confused by what the Giants could do for the first round. But at the same rate, I don't feel that pressure. Remember how pissed we were the last couple of years, Danny over Josh Allen, the defensive
Josh Allen, yeah.
And the offensive tackle, Thomas. But Thomas actually has been doing pretty good. Like the pressure that we felt the last few years for the first pick, I don't feel that this year. I feel like
Danny is starting to come somewhat around.
Well, I'm still not convinced. I was going
to say, that being said, this is the final exam. If he can't do anything big this year, maybe it's move on time.
Maybe you move on.
This year is basically the final exam for Danny, for Evan, and for Gettleman. This is it.
I think Galladay is going to be the big name to watch, though. If he can pick up some of the slack for Daniel Jones will still have a job. But speaking of Galladay, the wide receiver market has been an absolute abomination when it comes to signing anybody. I was
going to say, look, I have a bunch of names on here. This is the CBS Sport Tracker. If you want me to go over some of this,
go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Godwin got franchise tagged, and apparently, I'd say if they have until July, I think, if they're going to be working on a long-term deal. But if not, he'll play under the franchise tag this season. Allen Robinson franchise tag by the Bears. And you got to admit that's a big disappointment when the Bears, Trubisky's gone. They still have Nick Foles. And didn't they deal for somebody very recently? Oh, Andy Dalton.
Yeah. They just got him in free agency, yeah.
So you got to feel for Allen Robinson. He needs a legitimate quarterback, man.
By the way, if you're giving Andy Dalton $10 million for 1 year, and it was confirmed that the Bears said that he's going to be the starter this season.
But wait, the Bears are going to pick Andy Dalton over Nick Foles?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I was going to say, going back to Deshaun, man, the Bears, you had the opportunity to possibly trade for Deshaun, and
you know what though? You know what that tells me? Also, maybe they know something that that a lot of us don't.
Maybe, or maybe they're just going to continue to frustrate Allen Robinson to the point where he might become a holdout.
They're just trying to create a can of corn out of a can of crap.
Curtis Samuel going 3 years, $35.5 million to Washington. Yeah, way overpaid because he didn't play as well as like a DJ Moore.
And he was hurt.
He was hurt. And he's not going to be the number one over there because they still have Terry McLaurin.
And the other thing I wanted to bring up, oh my God, the Patriots are spending like drunken sailors.
It's like 180 to 190 million.
Oh, speaking of wide receiver, before we get to the Patriots of wide receivers, hey Nick, speaking of Jets, great job, Corey Davis, 3 years, $37.5 million. Now Corey,
if they get Juju Smith-Schuster.
No, they can't. Pittsburgh re-signed him.
Juju got re-signed to a 1 year deal.
Okay, there goes that.
So first of all, Juju. I mean, I guess he was betting on himself to get a big contract, and
nope.
Pittsburgh, their salary cap is all destroyed by the dead cap money by Roethlisberger. So,
they restructured the deal. I think.
Yeah, but there's still dead cap money anyway. So.
And they're going to be screwed after because this has to be his last season. They're going to be screwed next year once he's gone.
But the Patriots.
But Nick, yeah, good job. You wanted maybe Juju, get a couple of great wide receiver options or offensive line options. You get Corey Davis, who's a good receiver, but
not what you were looking for.
It's going to be the New York Jets jinx. Just wait for it. He's going to get hurt before the season starts, and he's not going to play. So.
Will Fuller, by the way, signing a 1 year deal to go to Miami to the Dolphins, which
that's a good move.
I was going to say, when you consider what's going on with the Texans, is actually a very good move. He's not going to be the number one there possibly because Devontae Parker is still there, but that's a solid 1-2 combination for Tua.
And they're not done. Good. They're not done.
Yeah, so good on them. Let's talk about the Patriots. I mean. Good God.
Guys, I decided I wanted to spend $180 million and
this is I tend to wipe with $50 bills and I decided to start acting like it.
Wait a minute. Hang on, let me try. I'd say it's not a perfect but maybe this will work.
You look like Emperor Palpatine.
I was embarrassed by the way we played last year. 7-9, not happy. Now that we're getting our defensive players who are opted out back. I'm going to re-sign Cam, and I'm going to sign every single person that I can.
Try and stop me, bitch.
So let's see. Instead of going to one of the tight ends that you drafted last year, you're going to get Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, which actually good on you guys.
Hunter Henry is very good.
And Jonnu Smith is a good number 2 tight end. Actually, he was good. Decent number one for Tennessee, but
it's hard not to think that watching Tom Brady win another Super Bowl down in Tampa. It's hard to not think
light a fire. Yeah,
he's rebounding like a jilted boyfriend.
You sure that's Tom Brady or is that a robot?
I mean, at this point, who can tell the difference? For God's sake.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Trying to see who else the Patriots managed to get because there were a lot of names.
Didn't Arizona make another big move also for wide receiver? I thought it was someone who was related to Deshaun Watson, wasn't it? That because they keep getting rumored to be noted with Deshaun Watson. Well, Deshaun Watson first has to get out of his own way before he can.
Oh, AJ Green, 1 year, $8.5 million. The guy's been hurt for the last few years. I wouldn't exactly say that's a big signing.
I was going to say he basically got all the green.
Well, it's interesting you brought up the Cardinals and wide receiver guys. Larry Fitzgerald is a free agent.
He's not coming back. I think he's done. I think
it seems like Larry Fitzgerald wants to play one last season.
I mean,
this guy has been Mr. Cardinal since the 2000s.
So I can't imagine him going anywhere else.
But they just got AJ Green. They have DeAndre Hopkins. They have a bunch of young receivers. I don't know if Larry Fitzgerald fits in Arizona anymore. That's the sad part.
Yeah.
But let me go back to the CBS Sports Tracker to just name off a few more interesting decisions. Of course, we know of the ones like Dak Prescott. Shaq Barrett staying in Tampa Bay. 4 years, $72 million. Justin Simmons staying in Denver with the franchise tag. Marcus Williams staying in New Orleans with the franchise tag. John Johnson going to the Browns, 3 years, $33 million. Aaron Jones staying in Green Bay, 4 years, $48 million. For those of you big fantasy players, there goes the A.J. Dillon hype train.
Oops. Yeah, really.
Anthony Harris is still out there. Melvin Ingram is still out there, surprisingly enough.
He's an injury-prone player. That's why.
Oh, Shaq Griffin from Seattle to Jacksonville. We got to mention Patrick Peterson for the Vikings. 1 year, $10 million. That's a big upgrade for that defense.
That is a big upgrade.
Wow.
And speaking of the Giants and Vikings, Dalvin Thompson going from the Giants to the Vikings, 2 year, $22 million. I guess the Vikings going all in on that defense. Which if you have Kirk Cousins as your quarterback, I think you do need solid defense.
But bottom line, just to put a bow on it, a lot of money spent, and I don't know if
I think honestly a lot of money was only moved because the NFL cap is down $15 million this year, and I think part of that is COVID.
So it's a lot of card shuffling. Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
It's a bunch of move around. The league just the players get the best money,
which is good to see. I mean, we haven't exactly seen as much like we haven't seen this much movement from say MLB free agency in a while, and I used to love that MLB free agency. So I mean, good on the NFL for actually making a really entertaining offseason.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take a look at some of the other big stories that have been popping up as of late as we wrap things up here on Empty the Bench. UFC 261, guys, the UFC is doing it again. So last year they were one of the first people back from COVID. And now on April 24th in Jacksonville, that same arena where they hosted the 3 empty cards in May when they came back from COVID after 2 months, UFC 261 will have a full crowd, full capacity, no restrictions whatsoever, no mask mandate, and 3 title fights to go along with it.
See, why do I feel like one of the innocent bystanders to a drunken man who just strapped rocket boots naked to himself during a snowstorm? I mean, I feel like I'm about to watch something terrible and entirely unavoidable happen.
But wait a minute. Are we surprised that Dana is really the first one to really say?
Dana's the one who is most aggressive. Dana always wants.
There's a line between aggressive and insanity, though.
Well, wait a minute. I was going to say, so Dana's like, all right, I'm going to perform a COVID spreader event, and hopefully no one gets sick.
I'm going to cure COVID with my bare hands.
Well, I'll say this.
Him and Vince McMahon.
We've been into the debate that maybe Dana White is out Vince McMahon.
Wow!
I mean,
that's a good point.
Well, think about this. WrestleMania is going to be 2 days, but they're pretty much doing what the Super Bowl did: $25,000. They're capping it. The pods, they're talking about potentially cardboard cutouts in the seats that are empty. They're looking more for the Super Bowl model than what the UFC is doing here. The WWE wants to go back to live events in front of crowds, but they seem to be doing it a lot more of a slower pace than the UFC is.
Yeah, but the one thing I will say that's favorable to the UFC, and this is no slight to them, but the crowds are smaller at UFC events than they are at a baseball game, an NBA game, an NFL game. So it makes it easier for them to come back quicker.
Yeah, it's arena capacity.
I was going to say, the ViStar Veterans Memorial, like I said, this is the same arena where last year they came back from the 2-month COVID thing. I'm trying to look for the capacity. The capacity is 15,000. So, I mean, compared to some of the other arenas that the UFC goes to, that's not a big crowd.
It's not a big crowd. I mean, you probably could get away with doing diminished capacity.
I'd say now. However, news did break last night that UFC 262 in May, they're going to be in Houston. Same rules are going to apply.
Well, but Texas is the first state to have 100% capacity,
yes,
no masks, which, in my opinion,
which we in the business like to call asking for it.
Well, what's ironic? Wait a minute.
Weird. Okay,
Wait a minute. What I was just going to say, I'll let you finish, is that in Texas, it's ironic because that's where the biggest amount of cases were when this peak happened.
Well, I was gonna go point to the fact that the Texas Rangers, they're gonna do the full capacity thing for opening day, but then they're gonna go back to the 10%. The rest of MLB is doing like what?
I mean, you know how, and if you check out our Twitter account, we had a montage for Adam Silver of all his stupid
moves.
I guess Rob Manfred's going to be next on that list, I think.
Well, but the thing about Manfred is that everybody else is following the 10%. These guys are going one event full of capacity, and then they're going back to 10. I think you gotta put that on Texas, not on Manfred.
I was going to say, I think Major League Baseball, the owners are on their own because Rob Manfred is as dumb as, well, you know what? I'm not going to finish that sentence. I'm not going to finish that sentence because most things are not as dumb as Rob Manfred.
Now, speaking of staying on the UFC for a second, the fight night events that take place in the time between pay-per-views, there's still no word yet on what they're going to do. I mean, to me, it just would not make much logical sense if you're going to go full capacity on the pay-per-view cards, but those little fight night cards, you're going to go back to like the Apex or Fight Islanders. Like, that makes no sense to me. I don't think Dana's that stupid, man.
Well, we're running into that same issue, and I'll say it quickly, with March Madness, where everything is in Indianapolis. You're hoping and praying to God that no one gets it, because if one person gets it, you're out. So we're praying to God that no one gets it. It's the same thing for the UFC matches, right? If someone gets it, that match is off.
Right. Well, I was going to say, it's a positive test. They may not get it. It could be a pulse on, or it may not be the fighter. It could be one of the cornermen. It could be one of the trainers that the fighter has. But the thing about the UFC is they kind of tend to like just put it off for like 2 or 3 weeks to fight.
Yeah.
I have one question though. It doesn't have to do with COVID, but there was a certain incident in the UFC that happened yesterday, which I have to ask questions because I don't get it.
You want me to bring that up right here?
Oh, no, not even that. I had a different thing, actually.
Okay.
The one I wanted to talk about was the weight cutting. Because...
Oh, you're talking about the scary sight that happened.
Well, you put it up, and then I put up a separate video, actually, that showed something else. And I was reading the story that apparently she was basically dehydrated. What's the name of the fighter, by the way?
Okay, I believe this is I
can't pronounce her name. It's got 1 million syllables in it.
Yeah, I believe she was a debuting UFC fighter too. I don't think she's had many, if any at all, any fights at all in the UFC.
It was a little scary when she was.
You're talking about Julia Stoliarenko.
Yeah, and I'm watching that video you saw, and then I saw another one where literally she's on the scale, and she literally starts like shaking around and falls over, and then gets up. First of all,
gets up. They bring her to her feet. She weighs in successfully, and then she faints again.
Well, no, I thought she passed out after trying to weigh in, and then she weighed in again. I thought was what happened.
I don't have the video on
because they said no. Because I think Helwani said afterwards, yeah, that's her, and if people could see that video on the screen, it's a little hard to see. We'll post it. We actually did post it. Yeah, she passed out, quite literally fell backwards into the wall.
Yeah, she weighed. What happened was they brought her back to her feet. She weighed in, and she weighed in successfully, but then she fell over again, and she had to be stretchered out of the.
Well, they wanted her to weigh in again because they wanted to do the whole.
No, she only weighed in once.
Okay, go ahead.
I said what happened was she was on the scale. They never announced her official weight. She passed out before the weight could be completed.
They were able to do it.
Yeah. So, and that fight, by the way, is off, thankfully.
Well, when I heard what she was doing that morning, which was that she was basically dehydrating herself from 5 a.m. until like 9 a.m. to drop the weight. Can we? Well, I don't care if this is UFC or any sport. Weight cutting should be banned for any athlete.
Well, there's a thing. There is a smart weight cut. Like some fighters actually manage to start early by eating right, exercising, and everything. The problem is is the excessive weight cutting. But yes, I believe personally, because I have martial arts experience, that you should be fighting at your more natural weight. You shouldn't be doing this. But this is something that was brought over from wrestling, like in high school wrestling, where you try to go to the lower weight classes so that way you have more strength than, say, a guy who's a more natural at that weight class. But yeah, the weight cutting, it's so bad on the body. Now, obviously, there's risk. Obviously, there's professionalism. You can't just fail to make the weight. But draining your body to that point, I mean, that's ridiculous.
Weight cutting is essentially dehydrating your body. That's what it is.
They gotta. I say if weight cutting is still going to be a thing, they gotta find
create rules against that.
They gotta create rules, and they gotta create some alternate methods other than dehydration.
Do you know when this whole weight cutting thing started? Because
it's been years, Nick. This has been a thing.
No, I'm just asking, like, when it actually was a thing. Do you know?
Not really. But this has been years in the making. Years.
All right, now you can go to the other story because I saw that one too.
Okay, Khabib. Dana White has confirmed Khabib's retirement. Let me translate it to you guys this way. Dana White has finally given up. He's going to let Khabib retire in peace after what happened in October.
Is he so desperate for ratings that he keeps going after the same guys? Like
he wanted Khabib to go to 30-0. Guys, we don't need. Conor got knocked out in his last fight. We don't need a Khabib Conor 2. Khabib's 29-0. He's had 4 title defenses. Let the man enjoy his freaking retirement. Jeez. And he made that promise to retire after his father died. He made that promise to his mother that he would stop fighting. It's not be a coach.
I mean, you don't need a Rocky 5 comeback. I mean, come
on. we don't even need a Rocky 4 comeback.
No.
All right, guys, Meyers Leonard got traded by the Heat, which understandable, but to the Thunder, along with a 2027 second, and for Trevor Ariza, why?
Anti-Semitism, I guess, really kills your trade value.
By the way, I feel bad for Trevor Ariza.
Yeah,
I feel. He's a good player.
He's a good player, and he ends up getting traded for a guy who's in anti-Semitic controversy and is out for the year.
I'm going to say
a second round pick they're not going to see for 5-6 years.
I'm going to say one thing here. Okay, now obviously this is going to be quite obvious because everyone knows what I'm going to say. But Adam Silver did not do the right thing. Still hasn't done the right thing. You find him.
You think?
You fined him $50K. Okay, he made $10 million this year. Now, my math is not great.
Adam has claimed that that's the maximum he's allowed to do under his rules from the owners.
Oh, BS. How much did we fine, I keep forgetting his name, the Clippers owner, for all the BS that
Sterling.
Yeah.
He fined Donald Sterling $2.5 million. Not that that was chump change, but still. So I don't want to hear that $50,000 is the power you have. That was an excuse because you didn't want to deal with the whole situation.
Adam Silver's at it again. That's all I'll say.
You know what? I refer to the NBA as nothing but Adam because Adam is basically the ego master of this league. So.
Nothing but ass.
That's it.
Oh God! Please don't mention that.
That sounds like a porn website.
Oh, stop it! Stop it!
Nick, it wasn't me.
All right, guys, one last story here. LeBron James is a traitor to the New York Yankees. You traitor.
I mean, he is now part owner of the Fenway Sports Group, which owns the Boston Red Sox.
Now, before people get on top of LeBron, well, actually, wow, is that coming out of my mouth? That's a little bit of irony right there. But anyway, this is not. It has nothing to do with being a partial owner of the Red Sox.
But I will tell you what this is. I'll
The
tell
Red
you what
Sox
this
need
is.
money.
There you go.
The Red Sox need money. They need money, and they need a name, and to turn everything around. And they got LeBron James.
Wait a minute. Doesn't LeBron also have ownership in a soccer team? Also,
Yeah.
Yes, I believe.
was it Barcelona? I think,
I don't know.
or Manchester. Oh wait, it might be Manchester. I don't know. I know that Fenway Group also has a soccer team. I don't know which one they have.
Well,
Manchester,
I was
Manchester FC.
Liverpool.
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 FC.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He owns Liverpool. Well, with the Red Sox, I think the Red Sox might have something in Manchester. I know the Red Sox ownership group did own the New England Revolution, but they did have to sell that off for money, I think was the story.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I think we're putting a little too much stock into this story. Now, don't get me wrong. He's a Yankee fan, and now he's in Red Sox ownership. But we've seen this before. We've seen politicians who cross sides, and they're sports fans of one team, and they end up on another team.
Hey, and let's face it, guys. Derek Jeter, you know,
Yeah.
the most beloved Yankee. He's a Marlins owner now.
Is the now Marlins owner?
Even though he owns less than 1%.
and
Still,
then
he's the face.
he's the face of the ownership group. And A-Rod tried to buy the Mets, and seeing what's going on with him and J-Lo, maybe good that he didn't get it.
Well, no, actually, reportedly, they're back together.
Why am I not surprised?
I mean, I don't know. I can't keep up with them. So,
I feel like we should just end every show with that from now on.
Yeah.
do you have anything left? Because I have one little tiny itty bitty.
No, nothing's left. Okay, what's the itty bitty breaking?
Well, it's not breaking, but I just found it. So, Jason Whitlock. We haven't heard that name in a while, right?
Oh God.
Yeah.
So someone asked him on Twitter, "Have you gotten a vaccine?" And we all know Jason Whitlock has a tendency to not realize that he's actually followed or listened to on a daily basis. So he said the best vaccine is weight loss, exercise, vitamin D, green food from the earth, and water.
I mean, all those things are great, but get your vaccine too.
Like, yeah, but you know what? They can't prevent dying of COVID in a hospital.
My favorite is someone who responded to him and said, the best vaccine against stupidity is ignoring Jason Whitlock.
Ooh, I love it.
Love it.
Bravo. Bravo.
All right, that's all I got.
Get vaccinated, people.
Get vaccinated. Please get vaccinated.
All right, that's going to do it for us. For Nick Morgeson and Nick Federa, I'm Tom Albano. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Good night, everybody!
Good night.